Okay, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning here in Massachusetts. The weather's pretty lousy outside, so I thought this morning we would play around with a little idea I had for a spinner or a top, as you probably know them. Cut it out of wood. Make a bunch of these if you want and have the kids play with them. They spin pretty good. This one is, I cut the top a little short on this one, so kind of hard to grab it, but once you get it in your hand, spins pretty good. It's a little bit different than the usual top. It's square rather than round on the top, but it does the job. It does a nice spinning job, which is what tops are supposed to do. Okay, see how long that can spin. It's got a pretty good shape to it, and it does last quite a while sometimes on a better surface. This is a rather bumpy surface here too. So what we're going to do, I've got a pattern that I made for you. You can down below you can find a link to this pattern, and you can I got 3 on a page. Probably won't need 3, but cut one out when you're ready to use it. I've got one cut out here for our little experiment here. And it's going to be what is called a compound cut, which means it's going to be a 3-dimensional type cut. The size of the wood you're going to need is 1.5 by 1.5, 1.5 by 1.5. And I made this a little extra long because I want to have something to grab on the ends, so I won't get my hand too close to the blade when I'm doing the cutting. This is a regular 2x4. You'll probably be able to cut it 1.5 very easily. This has got some knots in it. I want to try to avoid those while I'm setting this up. So I'm going to place the pattern in a position where we won't have it affected by the knots as such. Okay, what we want to do first is take some tape, painter's tape. This will, again, usual purpose is to allow us something to stick the pattern to. It doesn't really matter too much as far as peeling it off goes, because you're not really going to be using the outside surface here at all. The little spinner will come out of the center of the wood magically. Okay, so we'll just put this on here primarily to stick the pattern to it, and also to help the blade cut through this. I mean, you got quite a bit of meat to cut through here, and anything that will help it, like the lubricant on this tape, will be welcome. So we're going to do all 4 sides. I'm going to want to stay more toward the bottom here. I notice this piece of wood has a little crack in it too, which could cause a problem, but this is just for demonstration purposes. If you got a nice clean piece of wood, it'll work out just fine. We have the pattern now, and we're going to put this right on here. When we put it on, we want it to go right, the little seam in the paper is going to go right on the edge of the wood, like that, okay? So once we got it glued on the back here, we're going to fold it right over so we have 2 sides to this thing. Now that brings us to the point where we have to put some adhesive on the back. You can use a spray adhesive. I prefer to use a glue stick, so I'm going to go do that now. I'll come back in a moment. Okay, I'm back here now. We're going to just put this down on the wood. I don't know if you can see it very well. Let me just first of all get it lined up. And I'll move the camera in a little bit. Okay, so I line that up on there. And we'll move the camera in a little closer so you can see it's right on the edge, which is basically what we want. Okay, and then flatten this out nicely and fold it on over. You can see the seam right on the edge there. You got a little bit of cutting room on each side. Flip it over, press this side down too. Okay. Alright, we've avoided the knots in the wood too, I think, so we ought to be able to come up with a pretty good cut on this. What we're going to do now is take it over to the drill press and drill a couple of holes in this so we can have our entry blade of the saw go through. So let's go over to the drill press now. Okay, we're at the drill press now, and got a little extra long drill bit on there. It's probably about a little less than a quarter of an inch probably. Doesn't really matter, just as long as your saw blade will fit through it. We're going to drill a hole on this side and a hole on this side, so we have an entry point for the saw blade. Here we go. Okay, I've drilled the holes now. You can see there's one on that side and one on the other side as well. Okay, I'm going to use those to put the saw blade through and start our cutting. So let's go over to the scroll saw now. And I've got a number 5 reverse tooth blade in here. It's a brand new blade, so I want to start with a new blade on this stuff because it's a little bit thicker than the usual wood. It should cut through pretty good, pretty easy on this. This is a light pine type of wood, so shouldn't be too much trouble cutting through it. So we insert our saw blade through the entry hole, bring it down, line up the blade and get it in there. Make sure it's good and tight, but not too tight. Okay, and we'll put this about 3/4 speed probably. And we'll see how it goes. Meet you back at the pass. Okay, cut that out with no problem. A nice smooth cut. What we're going to do now is take the blade out and hold those pieces in. We don't want those to fall out. We've got to have them inside the piece for the next cut on the other side. And I could just flip this over and do that, but I don't want to have that piece moving around too much in there. So the best thing to do is put a little piece of tape on both sides. It'll help to hold it in position. So let me go get some tape. I'll move the camera back a little bit so we can see the operation here, not too difficult. Just a couple of slices of tape here. I don't want to cover the other piece though, so put it right on there so that it holds that in position. And we'll flip it over and we'll get another little piece and put that one on the other side. Okay, now that'll hold that pretty stable in there. Now all we have to do is make our other cut on the other side. Here we go. Same process. probably finished. Okay, that's all there is to cutting it out. What we'll do now is take it off of here, bring it over to the bench, take a look at what we got here. Okay, we're over at the bench now, and finished our cuts. Let's see if this thing comes out nice. There's the end piece, and there's our little spinner. Comes right out of there. Very nice. Will it spin? Of course it will. Bench is not too good for spinning though, because it's got a lot of little holes and hooks in it. What I'm going to do now is take this over to my sander, my mop sander actually, which is a part of my sand flea, and I'm going to just run it over the whole thing, smooth it out, make it look pretty good. So let's go. Here we are. The mop sander is going to take a little bit of the roughness off the edges. Got to be a little careful with your fingers here. It'll give you a quick manicure on your nails. Also got to be careful you don't hook the edge of the spinner in there, because it'll go flying across the room. I try to get it right on the edge here to smooth it out. You could do this by hand too. Okay, looking pretty good. Let's bring this back a little bit. Maybe you can get this thing in focus. We have our little spinner ready to go. Now, I'm going to take it over and give it a coat of clear spray. I think it'll probably look a lot better with that on it. And we'll give it a spin after that. Okay, while we're waiting for the spinner to dry over there, I thought make a interesting attempt at something here. I noticed these little pieces that came out of the block of wood as we did our cutting for the spinner have a rather unique shape to them. I'm wondering if maybe we could possibly use them for something. I hate to waste wood if we don't have to. I haven't any idea right now what it could be used for. Maybe you have some suggestions. If you do, send me an email or post it in the bottom of the comment area down below, and we'll see if we can't make some use out of these. They could probably be pretty fancy if you clean them up a little bit. I was thinking maybe you gotta get 4 of them anyways. They all look pretty much alike. If you put them out some way, maybe you could use them as a pencil holder on some kind of a base you could build for it. Dress them up a little bit, or maybe a picture holder possibly. Stand it up on there. Well, it's an idea. It's working. It's got to sort of boil a little bit in the brain. And if you got any ideas, though, put your comments in there and let me know what you think. Okay, I think our spinners are ready here. See what kind of spinning they can do. That one took off. Ooh. Well, they seem to be working pretty good. Ooh. Whoop. Okay, well, I hope you like this little project, and if you did, click on the little thumbs up down below there, and be sure to subscribe to the channel too, because I'll be coming up with other ideas, and maybe you'll find them useful. Thanks for watching anyways.